2.5 miles on the bottom of the North Atlantic, the Royal Mail ship Titanic sleeps peacefully in her underwater tomb. The footage you are about to see, courtesy of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, was taken in the early 2000s during a research and scientific survey of the Titanic wreck. Here is the raw, nearly uncut footage, just a small portion of the over 24 hours of wreck footage obtained from this one particular dive. The footage, taken from submersibles Mir 1 and Mir 2, will give the viewer an unrestricted view of the wreck of Titanic as never before seen. This footage, and others like it recently acquired by Storied Treasures, is going to be featured prominently in an upcoming Titanic documentary entitled Titanic: Memories from the Deep. Meanwhile, an internet archive is currently underway to release the footage to the public once and for all. The footage, though public domain, is not easily accessible and has been acquired and used with permission from the appropriate departments. We're coming in over the bow of the Titanic. Much of what you are about to see will be a culmination of footage overlaid to give you as unobstructed a view of the wreck and unbroken as possible. So here we have the submersible, and you can hear the chatter from the submersible pilots and the respective scientists who are inside. The camera is looking at the port or left side of the Titanic, and if you look very carefully in the bottom of the screen, you can see how deeply the Titanic is buried in the mud. Her center anchor in the middle is clearly visible, as well as the main port anchor just above the mud line. The anchor should be approximately 60 feet off the ground, but now, as you can see, it's mere feet off the ground, the bow having embedded itself in the ocean floor after its long fall from the surface above on April 15, 1912, approximately 2:20 a.m.
Well, he said that aft fluke was cleaned off, and it's not as much growth on that as the forward fluke, but I don't. It doesn't look like it's been cleaned or anything.
As the submersible rises up to the railing, we are going to begin what will excite many people, a flyover of the Titanic wreck. Starting our tour of the Titanic, we, of course, start with the bow. In this very up-close and personal view of the outermost edge of the anchor crane. The bow and stern section lie 2.5 miles down, or 12,460 feet below the ocean surface. The ship lies in two pieces, approximately 1,900 feet apart. The stern section, having swung around, faces the opposite direction as the bow. As we travel up and over the anchor crane, we come across Titanic's massive steel chains. Each link approximately weighs in at 200 pounds. The anchor chains are still fully in place and, even today, firmly hold Titanic's massive anchors to her bow. passing over the number 1 cargo hatch on the forward forecastle deck. Below this open hatch, Titanic's numerous cargo spaces, and just 2 decks or 3 decks below, the third-class open space where, on the evening of Saturday, April the 13th, the passengers in third class were having a party. The rambunctious rabble, as they were called by 1 or 2, were told to keep the party and the noise to a minimum. Needless to say, the third-class passengers had every reason to celebrate, for soon the Titanic would arrive in New York, and they would have reached their destination, the Promised Land, a destination many of them would never reach. Following our journey aft, or towards the stern or rear of the wreck, we come across a series of winches. They lay beneath the fallen forward mast, and we are passing over the number 2 cargo/bunker hatch, which goes down to the ship's mailroom and cargo stores. A small, twisted piece of steel can be seen laying across the fallen mast, and this is all that remains of the crow's nest where, in 1912, Frederick Fleet first saw the iceberg. Original 1911 footage of Titanic's near twin sister, Olympic, shows the area as it appeared back in 1912. The White Star Line was particularly proud of these massive electric cargo cranes, which effortlessly loaded the passengers' baggage into the cargo holds located just forward. The area you see in the footage is identical to the place we are currently flying over.
Alright, look at the window, get that first person. Oh, man.
As we fly over the B-deck open promenade, the doors and windows you see lead into first-class luxury suites. Ocean-facing, they fetched a pretty premium in 1912. As one can well imagine, they were far from being the most expensive cabins on the ship.
The whole collapse of the...
Rising up, we approach the A-deck forward-facing promenade.
You see the rivets are gone. I mean, when you see these plates collapse, the rivets are...
It was here that Father Francis Brown snapped this picture of a crew member off duty as the ship approached Ireland.
We can get a close-up of that later. Okay, yeah, good.
Rising above this, we now see the remains of the bridge floor. That thin strip of metal sticking straight out is all that remains of the bridge flooring that once housed Titanic's wheel, engine order telegraphs, and other assorted instruments. The entire structure having been knocked away during the final plunge. However, located just behind the bridge was the wheelhouse, where, to this day, Titanic's telemotor control still remains.